But I just wondered if you were contemplating going to university, or you've just come out of university, or you teach in a university, whether you think it is worth it. Is it worth your time, your money, and your energy? I put this to Stephen Bartlett, who is obviously a star on Dragon's Den, but host of the Diary of a CEO podcast. He's an entrepreneur who at the age of 30 has, I think, been far more productive and successful than I will ever be, even if I live to 100. He's a really, really interesting guy who has an incredible story, which actually includes quitting university after just one lecture. He was talking about younger people's changing perceptions of business icons, no longer Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos, but David Beckham and KSI.
I mean, the research from Natwest kind of illustrates that, and I think it's surprising to some people, but it's not entirely surprising to me that people who are now considered to be creators or influencers dominate that list. I think in the top 10 in the UK, I think I'm the only person in that list that made my name first in business. So my first thing was business. So my first, and still I consider my first thing to be business. The rest of that list is dominated by people like KSI, and people who you consider to be influencers. And to that audience, to the 18 to 30 audience, that makes perfect sense, because all of those people in that list have built something, whether it's a non-profit or a business, whatever. They started by building an audience first, and then they used their audience to create something and deliver it to their audience, which is the kind of the other way around. But it shows you the importance these days of audience building, but it also shows you that how much time people are spending on social media.
I was quite struck by that, actually, that it's almost as if what younger people seem to want, at least this comes across to me, is not actually, I'm going to come up with a business idea and I'm going to make it happen by doing the nitty-gritty every day that you would have had to do to create your business, but I want to be the celebrity who then has lots of other businesses because I've got that voice, because I've been a footballer or a rapper or on Instagram.
Yeah, and I think, because once upon a time, you would be a footballer or a rapper or whatever you might be, or an influencer. You might have gone on a reality TV show, and you wouldn't come off that experience with 10 million followers who you could do a tweet or a post to with a link. Because the world has changed and because of the democratization of social media and publishing generally, that's now the case. It's now the case that individuals are basically media companies. So when they think about the next chapter of their career and how to make that lucrative, of course, they think, I'll create something. I'll serve my audience something that I think they want. And this is just part of a changing world, and it's only going to continue to go in that direction.
Completely.
And I think some of the biggest businesses in the world will be, look at Kylie. She became a paper, according to Forbes in that first piece, a paper billionaire by doing exactly that.
Mm-hmm. I'm totally fascinated by what my kids are watching on YouTube. These it seems to be mainly young American guys who do outlandish, crazy stuff, have enormous audiences. I mean, just like eye-watering number of eyeballs on them, and create their businesses through the content driven by, in particular, in this case, YouTube. That's the way that this is going.
100%. I mean, Mr. Beast is the king of this.
Oh, Mr. Beast.
He is
amazing.
Yeah. He's starting a retail chain. He's said that he will be the first billionaire YouTuber, and nobody disbelieves him.
No. The merch. My children are demanding Mr. Beast merch. For birthdays, for Christmas, you've got to have the bag, you've got to have all the Mr. Beast stuff. It's incredible. And he's come out of, from what I can see anyway, maybe I think about this the wrong way, Stephen. I think I'm stuck in a kind of old mindset of, hang on, I thought you were meant to do it the other way around, the old way around, the way around that you and many others, Jeff Bezos and all those kinds of, Bill Gates and all those kind of people, I thought you were meant to do it that way.
Yeah, I think the modern business leader will do it both ways, and I think they'll have their business, they'll build their audience, and they'll build their audience and have their business. I think it will go both ways. I think if you want, and there's a real upside to that. Even looking at my life, and being completely honest, I started a business, the business went well, and at the same time I started building an audience. They now both serve each other. Mm-hmm. So in my we'll call it personal branding side of things, or content creation or influencer side of things with my podcast, my books and TV stuff, Dragon's Den, that has served my business in an unbelievable way. And conversely, having a big legitimate business has served all of that stuff books, being a Dragon on Dragon's Den, a podcast in an unbelievable way. There's a two-way relationship. And I think all CEOs, and I think this is the direction of travel for the future, will become essentially media companies. I think the biggest CEOs should be as well, because especially if you look at the big situation like Mark Zuckerberg or even, Jack Dorsey, who used to run Twitter, they're under such scrutiny that if they hide, they become a black box. For them to be, to get public approval, they have to be glass boxes. They have to let you see inside. And this is another macro shift that's happened, because once upon a time, you didn't know the CEOs of the companies that you were buying from. Now you do. And now how they treat people and who they are determines whether you buy from Amazon or whether you use that platform. And we're seeing that at the moment with Twitter, with Elon's takeover. This is another change in the world.
Two quick ones before I let you go. Do you think that the incoming recession is going to stop, particularly younger people, from being able to do that?
It makes it more difficult, but it won't stop them. I have no doubt about that. Because it is easier than ever before to start a business and to give it a shot. You can do it with that piece of glass in the palm of your hands. You can create a Shopify store in seconds. You can launch the marketing channel on Instagram or TikTok, wherever it is, in seconds. And you can give it a shot. And you can even do things like drop shipping and all kinds of stuff now to enable the fulfillment of orders and stuff. Or you can start a YouTube channel which will pay you just to talk. The podcast will generate £300,000 a month for me.
Wow.
And that's just me sat talking.
Wow,
and that's a bigger business.
I'm totally fascinated by not just but by people who get to where you've got, by how you got there. And I think if the traditional route is now done away with, I wonder what that says to younger people, particularly heading to university. We're reading stories of strikes at universities, the difficulty of getting accommodation for people at university. I noticed, or I read somewhere, that you, I think, pulled out of university after one lecture. Why, and what role do you think? Do you think university is playing less and less of a role in the success of people coming out of school and going into the big wide world?
I do. I think we need to rethink the whole journey that someone goes on to sort of educate themselves. One of the most important things that I have to make as a distinction is when people hear that I dropped out of university and that I was kicked out of school, they think, he hates the education system. I don't like school and university. I'm obsessed with education. I will fall asleep every night, including last night, self-educating myself with literally a book on my face or with a YouTube video playing about something. And I'm not watching Netflix. Like, I'm watching documentaries, I'm learning about health, the blockchain, Web3, technology, whatever it is. I'm obsessed with education. The system wasn't for me. It wasn't the jigsaw piece that fit my jigsaw shape. So, and then you think about where we live now and how...
Sorry to interrupt. Do you think it's becoming less and less that way for lots of other people?
Yes, because information is so accessible. You can listen to a podcast with a $100 billion CEO for free, telling you exactly how they started their business step by step. You can DM them on Instagram and ask them. You can see Jack Dorsey and Elon Musk talking about how they're making their business decisions live on Twitter, or you can use Google, the biggest depository of information ever in the history of mankind, where you can ask any question and find any answer. These things didn't exist 20 years ago. The world has changed, and the way we educate, it has changed. What we should really be doing in school is teaching people how to search Google and use the internet to find the information and to self-educate. We should be teaching self-education versus come to this lecture at this time and this person is going to show you a slideshow. But the system is so entrenched, and it's existed for centuries. Yeah. So uprooting it and creating a new system is not going to happen overnight. But I think that's the direction of travel. And I think that's what we're seeing. More expensive than ever before as well. More expensive than ever before to go to university. But less worth it, in my view, for most people. I think a lot of it's a scam, to be honest.
Stephen Bartlett, the founder of Social Chain, host of the Diary of a CEO podcast, the star of Dragon's Den, who has explained he dropped out of university after one lecture, but obviously didn't do much harm, given how much he's taken in through that podcast. I wonder whether you agree with him that the model of university education,